What is up, guys? Thought I'd do something a little different today. So as you remember from TwitchCon, ArenaNet did do a trivia quiz show. This is actually something I'd been talking about on the stream doing for a while and figured, hey, let's actually make one. So today, I made a quiz that you guys can sit up right now and enjoy as the video goes along. You can test yourself as a Guild Wars Mastermind. So the way this works is very basic. I will read through some questions I've written down, and I'll give you guys 4 potential answers each time, and you just pick A, B, C, or D. And you just write it on a piece of paper or on a notepad if you're at the PC, and just record what your answers are as we go. Then at the end of the video, I'll go through the questions again and tell you what the answers were. If you get it correct, then you get a score for that question. At the end, we count them all up, and we will decide how smart you are. So the rankings I've come up with here are if you get 0 to 40 points, you are a novice. If you get 41 to 60, you're a veteran. 61 to 80, you're an elite. 81 to 100, you're a champion. 101 to 120, you're legendary. And if you manage to get pretty much all of them right, or get very, very high, from 121 to 130, 130 being the maximum score you can get on this quiz, you will be Traherne level. Alright, so sit up, guys. Be ready. We've got 10 easy questions, 10 medium questions, 10 hard ones, and 10 ultra hard. Now, in the name of fairness, I have only put questions on this quiz that I personally already knew the answers to. There's no, like, me going on Wiki here and then looking for some totally obscure fact or weird number you've got to figure out that I didn't already know. These are in the realms of things you can understand. So by taking this quiz in a weird way, I guess you're kind of comparing how you fare up to me. And these questions are questions I've deliberately picked when we get to, like, ultra hard that I think most of you won't know. So you want to prove me wrong? Let's see how you do. All right, everybody ready? We're going to go through the questions. First, for the easy questions, we've got 10 easy ones. Start us off nice and simple. I think a lot of people, even who don't play Guild Wars, can get warmed up here. Let's roll straight into it. Question 1. How many professions are there in Guild Wars 2 after Heart of Thorns releases? Is it A, 5, B, 8, C, 9, or D, 12? If you guys need a little bit of time to think about that answer, you can, of course, pause the video, and I'll be encouraging you to do that after every question. After you've got the answer, write it down, question 1, and write your answer. Feel free to replay the video, and we'll move on to question 2. Question 2. Which race currently lives in the lands of Ascalon? Is it the Char, the Norn, the humans, or the Sylvari? How many skills does a two-handed weapon give a player? Is it 2 skills, 3, 5, or 10? Question 4. Where were the playable Sylvari born? Was it in Drytop, the Grove, the Maguma Jungle, or Ilona? Question 5. Which of these is not, I repeat, not an equipable armor slot? Is it shoulders, gloves, chest, or cape? Question 6. Guild Wars 2 is set on the continent of Ilona, Cantha, Dawn, or Tyria. Question 7. Guild Wars 2 is made by Blizzard, Carbine, ArenaNet, or Bethesda. Question 8. Which of these is not a playable profession? Ranger, Elementalist, Paragon, or Guardian? Question 9. In what year did Guild Wars 2 release? Was it 2008, 2010, 2012, or 2014? And last of all, for the easy questions, question 10. A popular race of bird people are known as what? The Skelk, Norn, Tengu, or Wardens? So there you go, guys. Easy little roll into it there. Hopefully you feel like you did okay. Now, when we come to scoring later, the easy questions will all be worth 1 point. And now we're going to move on to the medium questions. It's going to be 10 of these, and these are going to be worth 2 points. And we'll explain that when we get to the end. So hang in here for the medium questions. Question 1. A spear is a what? Elementalist weapon, a terrestrial weapon, an engineer weapon, or an underwater weapon? Question 2. Guild Wars 1 used what as its currency? Bronze, silver, and gold? Gems? It used a system of only bartering? Or gold and platinum? Question 3. Laurels are currently earned through what? Login rewards, dailies, dungeons, or the gem store? Question 4. Which of these is not an Elder Dragon? Zaitan, Jormag, Glint, or Morgemoth? Question 5. An elite specialization does not give you a new what? Set of skills, traits, gear, or armor class? Question 6. Name the Heart of Thorns race. Newcock, New Hop, Neetop, or New Hawk? Question 7. Which wasn't a Guild Wars novel? Ghosts of Ascalon, Edge of Destiny, Sea of Sorrows, or Crucible of Eternity? Question 8. Which of these is a Guild Wars 2 dungeon? Sorrow's Furnace, Bloodstone Fen, Honor of the Tides, Twilight Arbor? Question 9. The Flame Legion are currently led by who? Smoder the Unflinching, Ritlock Brimstone, Geheron Balefire, or the Flame Effigies? Question 10. After Heart of Thorns, how many classes will be able to use the Greatsword? Is it 4 classes, 5, 6, or 7? Alright, so that's the medium questions. I'm betting a lot of you long-time watchers are still doing perfectly fine. You're still going absolutely strong. Let's see how you fare with the hard and then moving on to the ultra-hard. So, easy questions were worth 1 point, medium were worth 2. The hard questions are going to be worth 4 points each. So, here we go. Question 1. How many open-world explorable maps currently exist? Is it 27, 33, 39, or 45? Now, when I say open-world explorable maps, I don't mean small instances. I don't mean little areas coming off. I mean places you'll be able to get map completion and travel openly in the world wide of Tyrion. Question 2. Which of these is not a Metrica province location? Is it the Aether Vault Lab, Decider Atom, Soren Dra, or the Anthill? Question 3. How many Firstborn remain unknown to the player base? Is it 2, 3, 4, or 12? Question 4. The Guild Wars 1 king to flee his throne was King Adalbern, King Jadon, King Reza, or King Baradin? Question 5. Queen Jenna's father is who? King Reza, Unknown, King Delesio, or King Doric? Question 6. Who develops the Chinese branch of Guild Wars 2? Is it Zongkong, Kongzong, Zongking, or Xingkong? Question 7. How many equipable weapons currently exist in the game? Is it 13, 15, 17, or 19? Question 8. Which of these was not released as Guild Wars 1 content? Nightfall, Prophecies, Beyond, or Winds of Cantha? Question 9. Who was not a Prince of Vabi? Was it Amta the Mighty, Buta the Bold, Bokka the Magnificent, or Metu the Wise? Question 10. Before launch, several developers left to make what game? Diablo 3, State of Decay, Dead Island, or Wildstar? Alright, so maybe some of those will have been a little bit stumping for you guys, but we will barrel on now finally to the ultra-hard questions. These are worth 6 points each if you can get them, but they're not going to come particularly easily. So here we go. Number 1. Original rewards for world completion would have offered what? A legendary weapon, full exotic gear, gem find, or a cape? Question 2. The highest level thing in Guild Wars 1 was what? The Titans, players, a helicopter, or dinosaurs? Question 3. The skill in Guild Wars 2 Meteor hits how many targets? 1, 3, 5, or 24? Question 4. Level 90 transmutation charges could be obtained where? The trading post, cultural vendors, monster loot, or nowhere at all? Question 5. Harpies and Hecate are said to come from where? Istan, Dizlana, Ascalon, or Dawn? Question 6. The nationality of the first player to reach level 80 in Guild Wars 2 was English, German, French, or Spanish? Question 7. Which of these is not a dragon? Glost, Glint, Gleam, or Glimmer? Question 8. Now, there are only 3 options for this question, just to be clear. Which of these is not considered in beta? Is it Guild Wars 2 on Mac, the Hall of Monuments reward calculator, or Ritlock's Critter Rampage? Question 9. Before the system was removed, which of these was not an obtainable personality? Captivating, Scoundrel, Militant, or Ferocious? Question 10. A new free-to-play account starts Guild Wars 2 with how many achievement points? 0, 7, 12, or 17? So there you go, guys. Take some time there to have a bit of a breather. The ultra hard ones, hopefully you did fairly well with. If you've been listening to me a lot, specifically on videos and on stream recently, should have tipped you off for a few of those, but we shall see how many you guys get. So let's run through. I will give you guys the answers. As I read the answers off, just give yourself a tick or a cross if you got it right, and slowly tally up the points you got as you go. So first, the easy questions. Give yourself a single point for each of these you got right. So, and we'll roll through these as fast as possible. How many professions are there in Guild Wars 2 after Heart of Thorns releases? The answer to that question is 9. There's currently 8, and with the Revenant, we will be at 9 professions. Which race currently lives in the lands of Ascalon? Well, that answer is the Char. They currently live in the lands of Ascalon. Not humanity necessarily. They were pushed out and are now more relegated to Kryta. Question 3. How many skills does the two-handed weapon give a player? This could have been a little deceiving because you think, you get 10 skills on your build, but the two-handed weapon is really only giving you 5 abilities. You get 2 abilities from an offhand and 3 from a main hand. Question 4, where were the playable Sylvari born? This is the Grove. Now note that the question said playable Sylvari. There could be other Sylvari from the Maguma jungle, but the playable ones are from the Grove. Question 5, which of these is not an equipable armor slot? The answer to this was the cape slot. Funnily enough, in beta versions of the game, there was a cape slot, but that has, of course, never ended up in the game. And this is not Guild Wars 1 either, where you could get a cape from being a part of a guild. Next, you've got Guild Wars 2 is set on what continent? That is, of course, the continent of Tyria. Dawn appeared as an option here. Dawn is actually a continental region far to the northwest of the map that we found through data mining on the Dermond Priory Library floor. Question 7. Guild Wars 2 is actually made by ArenaNet. The other developers, Blizzard made World of Warcraft, Carbine made WildStar, and Bethesda made the Elder Scrolls franchise, not an MMO at all. Question 8. Which of these is not a playable profession in Guild Wars 2? That would be the Paragon. It was only a playable profession in Guild Wars 1. Question 9. What year did Guild Wars 2 release? That was the year 2012. And lastly, question 10. A popular race of bird people are known as the Tengu. The Wardens are a race of potential Sylvari from Cantha. The Norn are a playable race, and the Skelk are these horrible creatures from underground. So there you go, guys. Those were the easy questions. Hopefully you're still up at 10 with me at this point. Let's move on to the mediums, worth 2 points each. So a spear is an underwater weapon. Engineers cannot wield the spear, elementalists cannot, and it cannot be used above land either currently in-game. Guild Wars 1 used, what is its currency? It actually used gold and platinum. The bartering system, the only game I've played that's online and uses pure bartering is Path of Exile. Bronze, silver, and gold, of course, being Guild Wars 2's currencies as well as gems. Question 3. Laurels are currently earned through login rewards only. Dailies no longer give you laurels at all, though once upon a time they did. And laurels have never been available through dungeons or the gem store. Question 4. Which of these is not an Elder Dragon? The answer to this is Glint. Glint could perhaps have been set up to take the place of an Elder Dragon, but that never ended up happening, and she died in a fight against one. Question 5. An Elite Specialization doesn't give you a new armor class. It will give you new skills, it will give you new traits and gear when you max out that track, but a new armor class, absolutely it does not give you. Question 6. To name a race from Heart of Thorns. This is the new Hawk. The other ones do not exist at all. They're just variations on it. Question 7. Which wasn't a Guild Wars novel? That would be The Crucible of Eternity. The other 3 all were novels. Crucible of Eternity almost was a novel, but got cancelled in favour of Sea of Sorrows instead. Question 8. Which of these is a Guild Wars 2 dungeon? Sorrow's Furnace was a Guild Wars 1 dungeon. The answer to this is actually Twilight Arbor. Bloodstone Fen, for what it's worth, seemed to have potentially been a dungeon, but was cut out of the game before the release. Question 9. The Flame Legion are currently led by who? Well, that's Geheron Balefire. The flame effigies are tools used by the Flame Legion. Smoda the Unflinching is the Imperator of the Iron Legion, and Ritlock Brimstone is just a recognizable char that nonetheless has no affiliation with the Flame Legion. Lastly, we've got question 10. After Heart of Thorns, how many classes will be able to use the Greatsword? The answer to this is 5 classes. That being the Mesmer, the Guardian, the Warrior, the Necromancer, or Reaper, if you will, and the Ranger. There are no other classes, including Revenant, that will be able to use it. Alright, moving on, we've got the hard questions. These are each worth 4 points, so whenever you get a tick here, that's worth 4. Keep your tallies going. Question 1, how many open world explorable maps currently exist? The answer to this is 33. There are 33 explorable maps. Kind of a nice, easy number to remember. And of course, when Heart of Thorns comes out, that will go up, potentially to 39 or even 45, depending on how you consider those new maps to be being added. But currently 33. Question 2. Which of these is not a Metrica Province location? The place that is not in Metrica Province is actually the Aether Vault Lab. This is a location in Brisbane Wildlands. Some of you may have been tempted to say the Anthill there, but the Anthill is a place in Metrica Province. It's the area with the Skrit to the west of the map. A large cave-ish section. Question 3. How many Firstborn Sylvari remain unknown to the player base? There are actually only 2. If you answer 12, that's the amount of Firstborn there are to exist. Only 2 remain unknown to the player base. All the others we have seen since Wynn was revealed in Season 2 of The Living World. Question 4. The Guild Wars 1 king to flee his throne was King Jadon. So this may have been a little bit difficult for you guys. King Adalburn was the king of Ascalon, who never fled, ended up blowing it up with a faux fire. King Reza was the king of Oi, who you end up defeating at the end of the personal story in Guild Wars 2, and had his nation destroyed in the cataclysm unleashed by Vizier Kilbron. And King Baradin was never a king at all. He decided not to take the throne, and he gave it to Adalburn. That only leaves Jadon. Jadon was the king of Kryta, who fled at the site of the oncoming Char invasion, leaving space for Saul D'Alessio to take control. Question 5. King Jenna's father is actually unknown. You might not realize this, though he's referenced every now and then, the past king. His name is never actually given to us. You could have been tempted to say King Doric, who she is descended from, but King Doric was alive 1,000 years ago and is absolutely not her father. Question 6. Who develops the Chinese branch of Guild Wars 2? Well, that is Kong Zong. The other ones are just fake interpretations that are not real. Question 7. How many equipable weapons currently exist? The answer to this is actually the max in the range is 19. A lot higher than you may have originally expected, but 19 different weapons, including underwater ones. Could have thrown some people off. Which of these was not released Guild Wars 1 content? Well, that is the Winds of Cantha. There was the Winds of Change, and Guild Wars Beyond is kind of the overall term to describe the updates that were put in after Eye of the North. Some consider that the next campaign. The answer to this is actually Winds of Cantha. Question 9. Who was not a Prince of Vabi? Well, that is Buta the Bold. There's nothing more really to say there. Buta the Bold was a character in Vabi, but he was not one of the merchant princes. And question 10, before launch, several developers left to make what game? Well, that game was State of Decay, and this is actually honoured by ArenaNet in one of the late game personal story steps that they named Estate of Decay. This was a fairly successful, though not very highly selling, I believe, Xbox title. Alright, so there you go. Those are the hard questions. Let's move on to ultra hard now. Each of these is worth 6 points. Here we go. Question 1. Original rewards for world completion would have offered what? You'll know this answer if you've been active on Reddit the past 48 hours or so. It was actually revealed through Isaiah Cartwright that their original ideas for world completion would not just be the star next to your name, but you could get something called Gem Find 2. Now, those gems weren't necessarily gem store gems. They were more likely to be like rubies and stuff, but that absolutely was a proposed reward, unlike the other ones. So that was the answer there, Gem Find. Question 2, the highest level thing in all of Guild Wars 1 was what? This was a particularly fun question for me. Many of you remember the April Fool's helicopter that was added to Embark Beach. This thing was level 40, absolutely massive level, but then was quickly surpassed when John Stummy added hard mode quests. There was a particular dinosaur in the Tarnished Coast who hit a very high level 2, but the highest of them all were a specific variety of Titan in the hard mode Titan quests, and the Titans are the highest level things in all of Guild Wars 1. Players can only hit level 20. Question 3. The skill Meteor in Guild Wars 2 can hit how many targets? Now note here, this is Meteor. Meteor is a specific ability only elementalists will be able to cast when they pick up the environmental weapons rocks. And these are not the same as Meteor Shower. It's a long-range knockdown, and it won't hit 1 target, it won't hit 5 targets, it will only hit 3 targets. Very difficult question there. Next, you've got some old information about previous versions of the game. Level 90 transmutation charges could be obtained where? Well, these did exist. They could be bought at the cultural vendors in Divinity's Reach, and there's actually footage of that appeared on the stream quite recently. Question 5. Harpies and Hecate are said to come from where? This is... Some of you may have been tempted to say Istan because you know that this is Alolan lore, but actually it's a region we've never been able to travel to, just off the sides of Alona, called Dizlana. Some very obscure Guild Wars 1 lore there. That is where supposedly they are said to come from. Question 6. The nationality of the first player to reach level 80 was what? It was actually a French player who, along with his guild, kind of examined the way that crafting worked in the game. And on the first day, he and his buddies all came in. They donated all of their materials to this one guy. And he got his crafting. He crafted his way up to max like 400 of every discipline really early on. And he got level 80 super fast. That was a French player. Question 7. Which is not a dragon? The one thing that's not a dragon here is Glimmer. Glimmer is a dragon in the Spyro the Dragon franchise, but it is not a dragon in this franchise. Glost, of course, being the name of Glint before she was corrupted. Then she became known as Glint. Her offspring, known as Gleam, that we haven't met yet in Guild Wars 2, and Glimmer is the odd one out. Glimmer is the name of a Zephyrite NPC, by the way. Question 8. Which of these is not considered to be in beta right now? The Guild Wars 2 Mac client is still considered to be in beta. And funnily enough, the Hall of Monuments reward calculator is too. If you go to the official website for that, at the very top it will say, this is in beta. There's a pretty interesting thread about that a couple of months back. And Ritlock's Critter Rampage, then, is the only non-beta thing on this list. Question 9. Before the system was removed, which of these was not an obtainable personality? So the personality system was where you could respond to NPCs either with dignity, with charm, or ferocity. And the game would rate your percentages across these 3 things and give you a personality type. All 3 of Captivating, Scoundrel, and Militant were personality types. The only one that wasn't was Ferocious. You may have got a bit confused there because Ferocity was the way you would respond to NPCs, but it wasn't actually a personality itself. So that was the answer there. And finally, question 10. A new free-to-play account starts with how much AP? 0, 7, 12, or 17? Funnily enough, if you make a new free-to-play account in Guild Wars 2 right now, because they give you a bunch of glory arbitrarily, you actually start with 17 achievement points that they just give you for free. So there you go, guys. That is the quiz for you. I'd love to hear what you guys got on this. Give yourself a total based on how many points you got for these things. And if you fell between 0 and 40 points, no worries. You still got a lot to learn. You're a novice. If you got between 41 and 60 points, you're a veteran. 61 to 80, you're an elite. 81 to 100, you're a champion. 101 to 120, you're legendary. And if you got into the very, very top, 121 to 130, well, my friend, you are the Traherne rank. Or a god walking amongst mere mortals. Whichever one you want to choose. Thanks very much, guys. I'd love to see what you got. Let me know what you think about the video. Maybe we can do a couple of more in the future, depending on how it goes. But yeah, I hope you had some fun, and I'll see you next time.